They say nothing's impossible, but I beg to differ. Some things are downright difficult. Take my situation, for instance. I wake up each morning unsure if I'll make it through the day. You might think I'm exaggerating, but believe me, I'm not. Sometimes I feel like life ties me up in knots that refuse to loosen. It weighs me down and exhausts me with every step. Still, I keep moving, carrying those knots like an invisible burden. Nothing comes easy, here nothing at all. I know that. Yet my heart refuses to stop aching, tangled in its own confusion. With that thought, I left the office. My supervisor had spent the day venting his frustrations, pouring all his anger onto me. He left lighter while the weight settled deep into me, sitting heavy like a stone thrown in my chest, mocking me with its smirk. Still, isn't that a sign of care in its own strange way? If he didn't trust me, would he lean on me so much? I tried to convince myself as I started my ride home. The traffic was thick, people impatient, horns blaring. My motorcycle pushed through it all like a stubborn wave against a crowded tide. The road seemed to groan under my wheels, as though it too bore the pain I carried. Pedestrians stared, some startled, others annoyed, as if my rush disturbed their calm. I could almost hear their curses, even if no words were spoken. Enough. I told myself not to seek comfort in people or places anymore. The world had no balm for me, so why should I keep expecting it? I hardened my heart like stone, teaching it not to care. And yet, even in those dark thoughts, one small part of me whispered, I am not someone who can truly hate life. Maybe you, the listener, wonder why this bitterness. The answer is simple. The knot I speak of, the one that pulls at my insides, twisting my days into nights, is my marriage. I often asked myself how my wife managed to live without tasting the joy of life, without even trying. A week ago, she left unable to bear my questions, my criticisms, my cold silences. She walked out, and since then, the house has been empty. I thought I'd be fine. Work kept me busy, but she didn't let me go. Her calls kept coming, her voice pressing me to change, to become the version of me she dreamed of. But her dream was not my reality. And the more she tried, the more my resentment grew. By the time I pulled into the apartment complex, my head was full of these thoughts. I parked my motorcycle, turned the key in the lock, and flicked the light switch. 2 lizards darted across the wall, startled by the sudden brightness. Watching them, I felt my anger cool just slightly, as though even the smallest creatures were living with their own surprises and fears. I dropped onto the couch, turned on the ceiling fan, and closed my eyes. I must have dozed off. The doorbell startled me awake. When I opened the door, there she was, my wife. She looked at me once, said nothing, and walked inside. Said nothing either. Almost naturally, as if nothing had happened, she asked, "What should we make for dinner?" I walked to the fridge, pulled out the container of batter I'd ground earlier, and handed it to her. "How about steamed rice cakes with garlic chutney?" Her lips curved into a small smile, the first I'd seen in weeks, as she set to work. I sat back and switched on the evening news, the TV murmuring, while the sound of cooking filled the kitchen. "Dinner's ready, Michael," she called, her voice warm again. I sat down at the table, realizing how deeply I had longed for this, her voice, her presence, her quiet care. We ate together, side by side, while the two lizards on the wall above us seemed to watch in silent approval. Maybe they, too, were relieved. Perhaps now I wouldn't come storming through the door in anger again. As I finished eating, I thought, this not God tied between us. Maybe it's not meant to be untangled. Maybe it's meant to stay, binding us together through everything. And with that thought, I whispered a quiet prayer of thanks before drifting into sleep.